Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Doujinshi, and welcome back to another episode of Hentai Reviews, the only series where we take recording this series about as seriously as we take hanging out with our friends. Which is usually, at first, it's taken seriously. About 30 minutes in, somebody's on the table stripping. And yes, we are all dudes. So, let's go ahead and get into this review, because these episodes are actually kind of long, because Jesus Christ. When I record, or when I'm doing the research for videos related to Redo of a Healer, it takes about half a page to say what's going on. Black Bible takes 2 pages to do what's going on. What the fuck is going on? So, at least you know what we're doing today. This is episode 2 of Black Bible, done by our friends over at MS Pictures, running at 28 minutes and 7 seconds long, with a total of 20 categories. 20 categories. Notable of which are fucking everything. Literally everything. If you can't find something that you like that's in this episode, then you're probably not horny. Like, you should probably, go for a walk or something. Go play with literally anything you can find. Action figures, a rock, your dog, I don't care. But if you can't find something that you like, then god damn it, dude, you are picky. Well, let's get into this, because this is 2 pages, and I'd rather get this out real quickly. The episode starts off with a not-so-brief recap of a bunch of stuff that happened, including different scenes that happened and different scenes that happened. So, good thing to say that scene 1 starts at 0 seconds in and goes all the way to 2 minutes and 40 seconds in. Most of it being recapped pictures of plot-relevant stuff and sex scenes between Minase, the main character, and Psyche, I believe the blonde girl with the ponytail, from the original, from the first episode, who's part of the magic club that most of the stuff is focused around. But let's continue. After hooking up with her, he refuses to give over the book that he has. The book that has all the magic spells in it that he's been using to do everything with. It has like a Star of David on it, which is weird because Black Bible, a lot of Christianity things, girls literally chanting Jesus in the first episode, and then they cut over to that. I may have went to church a few years of my life, but I didn't. I got a few questions. But let's go ahead and skip past that. As he heads he heads home, and then it cuts to Imari getting a call from the main character's sister. Shiraki, the blonde with the curly little hair tube things. I don't know what they are. Do not tell me what they are, because I don't want to know hair stuff. She visits the main character as Imari heads over. Imari being the brown-haired one with the little ponytail coming out the side, who's very much the friend next door sort of thing. After Shiraki and the main character meet, he immediately gets to third base. Nice. So, leading to scene 2, which is starting from 5 minutes to 7 minutes and 25 seconds. 2 minutes and 25 seconds. That's not all that bad. And plus the fact that this is old school animation plus uncensored. Chef's kiss. Yes. In which case, it takes about 5 seconds, and then it leads into another scene that goes on with a random student and the teacher that can grow a dick at will. That goes on from 7 minutes and 30 seconds to 8 minutes and 25 seconds. About 55 seconds. Not all that bad. Then cuts to Minase and Shiraki talking on the rooftop, and he goes at her and says, "Hey, you know how you love me right now?" She's like, "Yes." And he's like, "I may have put a spell on you. your feelings aren't your own. And she's like, yes, they are. And he's like, no, they're not. I put them there. And she's like, but they are. He says, no. And she's like, well, fuck you. Yeets herself off the side of a building. Somehow lives. I don't know how high they were up. But anything more than 2 stories, you break your legs. And anything above 3 stories, if you land on anything other than your legs, you die. Even if you do land on your legs, your knees go into your chest and then you still die. It's just less. Alright. It then cuts to him. It goes to show her in the hospital that she survived, but she's fucked up. She has that anime fucked up where there's nothing wrong with her, but she's just asleep. And then it cuts to him in class talking to Psyche. I believe, yeah, Psyche was the blonde girl that he was hooking up with in the very beginning of the episode. And he goes to the old, and he ends up going to the old magic club because he was invited by her to show up at the magic club that they have right now. But then there's the one that was 12 years ago that did a whole sacrifice thing. Yeah, it had something to do with the book that he found. And on the way over there, he walked by the redhead, who I believe is the art teacher, who instructs him a lot. And she said, hey, remember that blonde chick that is also a teacher? Yeah, don't fuck with her. She's weird, and she's tied up with a lot of stuff. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go do exactly that. Walks off. As he goes down to the old magic club that's been sealed off this whole time, he is greeted by Kitome? Yeah, Kitome. Hey, I believe that's the name of the blonde-haired teacher who he was just told to not fuck around with. After visiting her, she asks, how'd you get the key to get down here? Because this is pretty weird. And, he says, none of your goddamn business. And she's like, well, how about I make it my business? Yes. And then reveals that she was there during the incident 12 years ago. And she was the only survivor of who then made a deal with a demon to gain crazy powers. Of which case she uses it to make people horny and grow a dick at will. As a weird use of infinite power. I mean, I haven't played a infernal warlock before, but I don't think that's what I'd be using those powers for. She makes a deal. She tells everybody that she made a deal with the demon 12 years ago, and then offers him the same power. Says, you're strong enough, you have the book. In which case, they're like, how do you know? How can you offer me these sorts of things? And then she gets on her knees, leading into scene number 3 that runs from 14 minutes to 17 minutes. Of which case, they go all around this place that is smeared in dried blood and then gets on top of the sacrifice pit, and it starts to glow, Swords of Revealing Light style, as they're going at it. She starts doing the thing where it's like, I can control whether or not you get off, and he's like, this fucking sucks. And they end up getting off each other, in which case he heads back home to his sister and does some weird magic that he now has control over, and just like, she shows up in a really hot number, and he's just like, you should wear a bra, and then grabs her boobs and then pulls away, and then she immediately goes over and starts getting herself cleaned up. Scene 4 of which, it just involves her, runs from 7 minutes and 45 seconds to 18 minutes and 20 seconds. Overall, 35 seconds. It's pretty cool, super short. He then gets a call and then goes to the new magic club. The call was from the blonde teacher who can grow a dick, the magic one. It's believed that he now has magical powers because he did, in fact, make a deal with that demon. Literally every horror movie has taught you not to do this. What are you fucking trying to do? Make a deal with anything else. Make a deal with Cthulhu. He's at least not evil. He's just weird. He gets a call and does some weird shit. And then after he shows up, he walks in there blade style, and then the blonde teacher also accompanies him there, and they start doing... They're like, we'll use magic to make it to where you can't get near us. And then the blonde teacher is just like, but magic can't stop these hands, and then just starts beating the shit out of the main girl. And then the weird shit magic type stuff that goes on is eventually spread throughout all of them, and they get horny, because apparently magic can do two things: grow a dick and get everything wet. Slip and slide mode activates on every girl within a 5-mile radius, and scene number 5 starts at 20 minutes and 15 seconds and goes all the way to 23 minutes and 35 seconds. It then cuts to him in his art class. He's talking with the teacher, the redhead who warned him against the blonde-haired girl. And when she's like, hey, you probably shouldn't be around her, and then he's like, oh yeah, there's something behind you. And then one of the girls from the magic club fucking tases the redhead, the teacher, and then she falls immediately to the ground. And then it quickly cuts to Imari and Minase, the brown-haired ponytail chick that's also the friend next door, and the main character shouting outside of her window saying, hey, I just want to see you, I want to see what's going on. With some things, it's very weird the way that he's doing it, because this sounds like a guy trying to get another cult member. And then it cuts to the teacher that got tased, the redhead, getting filled with a bunch of tubes, Matrix style, but instead of pumping them full of nutrients to keep them alive so a giant bio battery can continue working, she is getting full of baby batter from a bucket. Where they got it, I won't ask questions. I don't know. Robbing a sperm bank is very hard. In which case that lasts from 25 minutes and 20 seconds to 26 minutes, about 40 seconds, and then it ends right there. Holy hell, that was a lot, and my voice is going to be sore tomorrow. But luckily I don't make a video tomorrow, so you guys can continue to hear this beautiful voice for the rest of the time that I'm going to be doing this. I'll let it cool down, and let's go ahead and bring it into our reviewing section. So if you don't want to cut, if we're going to go ahead and move on to that, let's go ahead and get to that cheap-ass thing that I normally use. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Thank you very much. Animation. There are some pitfalls. Like, there's only one scene that I noticed this in. It's not super, dynamic with the movements, but there are some very good ways that they're used. And then there's the one scene that I was talking about where it just shows, them moaning in a still picture. But every time one person's moaning gets louder, the camera zooms in towards their face, backs out as they get quieter, and zooms in towards the other person who's moaning. And I could see that was kind of lazy, but I won't dock it harshly. It's an 8 out of 10 when it comes to animation. Not a masterpiece, but damn, it's good. Characters. The characters are very interesting. I want to know where this is going. Episode 2, I want to know what's going on and where everything is leading. Because so far you've got a guy who was casually making people hook up with each other, now made a pact with a demon alongside another girl who survived a cult massacre, and has also made a deal with a much more powerful demon, and is training that guy as they speak. And the girl next door who has yet to do anything except to just kind of be there. And a whole bunch of other people who are getting fucked up. It's very interesting. I'll give that an 8 out of 10 as well. I want to know what's going on. Not only do I have my pants down during the entire time, but I have my brain thinking of what's going to happen. And now what we're all really here for, the plot. There's a fuck ton of it, and it's varied. Like I said, there is 20 tags, and they use a lot of them. 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. That's all I can say. There's so much that I have to say so little. Episode 2 is great, and it doesn't really fall under any of the things. I know it has the struggle snuggle tag, and I'm usually averted to that. But I watch this out of the fact that it's a very well-known series. And there's not really anything like that. Like, some girls get under an aphrodisiac spell, and then they really don't do anything past that point. It's just like, hey, I'm going to snuggle you. And she's like, I'm okay with that. That's not unconsensual. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't feel like that. But nonetheless, 9 out of 10 for everything that's going on in it plot-wise. And let's go ahead and get into the overall, because this video is probably running longer than I'd like. Yep, I should hurry this up. Overall, 8 out of 10. This is weird, but this is great. Like, a lot of stuff happens in this. I know they're building up a lot of stuff. I want to know what's going to happen. So, with that out of the way, I'd like to say thank you everybody for being here. 8 out of 10 for the second episode. I will be continuing this because there are 16 fucking episodes and I dug myself into another hole. So let's continue forward. So, thank y'all for being here. We're at 62 fucking subscribers. This is so much more than I thought we'd be at. Like, I made one video, came back a day later, and I had 3 more people. Hi, 3 more people if you're watching this. I appreciate the hell out of you for being here, and thank you for giving me the time of the day. Now, until next time, I have been the Doctor. I love the fact that everyone is here. I love all of you. And have a nice day. Don't be a dick, there's too many of them. And wash your fucking hands. I have been the Doctor. Peace.